Welcome back to Waynesider, where we dive deep into the moments that shake the WWE Universe to its core. Tonight, we're unpacking a seismic event that unfolded at Money in the Bank 2025, a moment that left jaws on the floor and hearts racing. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, shocked the world by unveiling a new iteration of the Shield, but this wasn't a nostalgic reunion, it was a calculated, gut-wrenching statement that redefined his legacy. The WWE Universe is still reeling, and we're here to break it all down, layer by layer, emotion by emotion, betrayal by betrayal. Let's start at the beginning, where it all began for Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. The Bloodline wasn't just a faction, it was a dynasty built on the pillars of family, loyalty, and dominance. Roman, flanked by his cousins, the Usos, and later Solo Sikoa, created an empire that felt untouchable. With Paul Heyman as their wiseman, they ruled SmackDown with an iron grip, Roman's Universal Championship reign stretching over 1,300 days, a modern marvel. The Bloodline was more than a wrestling stable, it was a symbol of unity, of Samoan pride, of a family that would go to war for each other. But beneath the surface of that dominance, cracks were forming. The pressure of being the tribal chief weighed heavily on Roman. Every title defense, every main event, every "acknowledge me" chant carried the burden of an entire lineage. The Usos, Jimmy and Jay, were his soldiers, but they weren't just cousins, they were brothers in arms who sacrificed their own ambitions to elevate Roman's vision. Jay, especially, felt the strain, his loyalty tested time and again as Roman demanded unwavering devotion. The WWE Universe watched as Jay's internal struggle became a storyline of its own, a silent resentment simmering under the weight of family obligation. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. Alright, we're halfway through, and things are about to take a serious turn. If you thought you knew where this was going, think again, this is where the real drama unfolds. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come. Solo Sikoa's arrival added another layer to this complex dynamic. The younger brother, eager to prove himself, was thrust into the spotlight as the enforcer. But Solo's ambition was palpable, his desire to carve his own path clashing with Roman's iron-fisted rule. The Bloodline's unity was their strength, but it was also their Achilles heel. Every member was bound by blood, yet each carried their own dreams, their own egos. The WWE Universe could sense the tension, even as Roman stood tall, hula fala around his neck, demanding the world bow to his will. Paul Heyman, the mastermind behind the Bloodline's success, was the glue holding it together. His counsel kept Roman focused, his promos painted the faction as invincible. But even Heyman couldn't quell the growing unrest. The Wiseman's loyalty to Roman was absolute, but his influence couldn't erase the personal toll of Roman's relentless pursuit of greatness. The Bloodline's dominance came at a cost: strained relationships, suppressed individuality, and a family stretched to its breaking point. Fans on X began whispering about potential betrayals, about who would crack first under the pressure. The WWE Universe watched this saga unfold, captivated by the emotional depth of the Bloodline's story. Roman's heel turn in 2020 had transformed him from a polarizing babyface to a compelling anti-hero, but it also isolated him. His cousins stood by him, but their loyalty was tested in ways that cut deeper than any in-ring rivalry. Jay's departure from the Bloodline in 2023 was a gut punch, a moment that showed the world that even family could fracture. Jimmy's eventual rebellion and Solo's quiet ambition only deepened the narrative, a Shakespearean tragedy playing out in the squared circle. Money in the Bank 2025 was supposed to be another chapter in this ongoing saga, but no one could have predicted the seismic shift that awaited. Roman Reigns had been absent since WrestleMania 41, where Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker ambushed him, leaving the tribal chief battered and betrayed by Paul Heyman. The WWE Universe speculated wildly about his return, with posts on X suggesting he might confront Solo Sikoa or even reform the Bloodline. But what happened at Money in the Bank wasn't a reunion of the old guard, it was a reinvention that shook the very foundation of WWE. The Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, was electric as the event unfolded. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match was chaos incarnate, with Seth Rollins, Solo Sikoa, and others vying for the coveted briefcase. The crowd was on edge, expecting a big moment, but nothing could prepare them for what came next. As Seth Rollins climbed the ladder, poised to seize victory, the arena went dark. The iconic Shield theme blared through the speakers, a sound that hadn't been heard in years, sending the WWE Universe into a frenzy. When the lights came up, Roman Reigns stood at the top of the ramp, clad in black tactical gear, a nod to his Shield days. But he wasn't alone. Flanking him were two shocking figures: Jon Moxley, formerly Dean Ambrose, and Jey Uso. The crowd erupted, a mix of awe and disbelief. Moxley, who had been with AEW, had reportedly signed a one-time deal to return, while Jey, once estranged from Roman, stood by his cousin's side. This wasn't the bloodline, this was the Shield reborn, and it was a declaration of war. The attack was swift and brutal. Roman, Moxley, and Jey stormed the ring, dismantling everyone in their path. Seth Rollins, Roman's former Shield brother, was the primary target. The trio executed a triple powerbomb, echoing their past, leaving Rollins broken in the ring. Solo Sikoa, caught in the crossfire, was also laid out, a clear message that Roman was done with the Bloodline's new iteration. The WWE Universe was stunned, the moment trending instantly on X as fans grappled with the implications of this new alliance. The emotional weight of this moment can't be overstated. Roman Reigns, the man who built the Bloodline on the idea of family, had turned his back on it. Jey Uso's decision to align with Roman again was a shock, given their tumultuous history. Jey had walked away from the Bloodline, seeking his own path, yet here he was, standing with Roman in a moment that felt both nostalgic and revolutionary. Moxley's return added another layer of complexity, his presence a reminder of the Shield's unbreakable bond, even after years apart. Backstage, the whispers were immediate. Sources close to Wainsider reported that Roman had been planning this move for months, working quietly with Triple H to orchestrate the return of the Shield. Moxley's involvement was a closely guarded secret, with only a handful of people in the know. Jey's decision to rejoin Roman was said to be a last-minute call, driven by a private conversation between the cousins that mended old wounds. The WWE Universe was left wondering, was this a genuine reunion, or was Roman playing a deeper game? The aftermath of Money in the Bank 2025 was chaotic. Seth Rollins, humiliated by the attack, vowed revenge, his promos dripping with venom as he called out Roman for betraying their shared history. Solo Sikoa, now the leader of the Bloodline 2.0, was furious, his betrayal by Roman cutting deep. Posts on X speculated that Solo might align with other members of the Anoa family, like Jacob Fatu or even Zilla Fatu, to challenge Roman's new faction. The WWE landscape had shifted overnight, with the Shield's return setting the stage for a war unlike any other. For the WWE Universe, this moment was a rollercoaster of emotions. Fans who had followed the Shield since 2012 felt a rush of nostalgia, seeing Roman, Jey, and Moxley together again. But that nostalgia was tinged with unease. Roman's decision to abandon the Bloodline felt like a betrayal of everything he had built. The tribal chief had always preached family above all, yet here he was, choosing a new brotherhood over his own blood. The contradiction was stark, and it left fans questioning Roman's true motives. The emotional toll on the Bloodline was palpable. Jimmy Uso, who wasn't part of the new Shield, was reportedly devastated, feeling left behind by his cousin and brother. Solo Sikoa's anger was evident in his post-match promos, where he declared himself the true tribal chief. Paul Heyman, now aligned with Seth Rollins, was said to be heartbroken, his decades-long bond with Roman shattered. The WWE Universe watched as a family, once united, fractured into warring factions, each claiming the mantle of the Anoa legacy. This new Shield isn't just a faction, it's a statement. Roman Reigns is redefining his identity, stepping away from the tribal chief persona to reclaim the hounds of justice. But this isn't the same Shield that debuted in 2012. This version is darker, more ruthless, driven by Roman's need for control and revenge. Jey Uso's presence suggests a reconciliation, but the tension in his eyes during the attack hinted at unresolved issues. Moxley, ever the wildcard, brings an unpredictable edge, his AEW roots making him an outsider in WWE's world. The backstage reaction was one of awe and apprehension. Wrestlers like Cody, Rhodes and CM Punk, who have their own history with the Shield, were reportedly stunned by the reunion. Triple H's creative vision was praised for pulling off such a high-stakes moment, but some talent expressed concern about the fallout. The Shield's return could dominate WWE programming, potentially overshadowing other storylines. Yet, the consensus was clear: This was a game changer, a moment that would define 2025. What does this mean for the Bloodline's legacy? For years, Roman Reigns carried the Anoa'i family name to new heights, his title reign a testament to their dominance. But by reforming the Shield, he's effectively turned his back on that legacy. The Bloodline, once a symbol of unity, is now a fractured entity, with Solo Sikoa leading a new version that rejects Roman's influence. Fans on X are already predicting a Bloodline civil war, with SummerSlam 2025 as the potential battleground. The emotional aftermath for Roman himself is worth exploring. The tribal chief was never just a character, it was an extension of Roman's real-life pride in his heritage. To walk away from that, to choose the Shield over his family, suggests a man at war with himself. Was this a strategic move to counter Seth Rollins' growing power, or was it a desperate act of a man who's lost his way? The WWE Universe is divided, with some seeing Roman as a mastermind and others as a man running from his past. The return of the Shield also raises questions about loyalty. Jey Uso's decision to stand with Roman is a testament to their bond, but it's hard to ignore the pain in Jey's eyes as he attacked Solo. Moxley's return, while electrifying, feels like a wildcard move. His loyalty to Roman is untested in this new era. The Shield was always about brotherhood, but this new version feels more like a marriage of convenience, an alliance forged in necessity rather than trust. The WWE Universe is still processing the shock of Money in the Bank 2025. Social media is ablaze with reactions, from fans celebrating the nostalgia to others mourning the end of the Bloodline as we knew it. The hashtag New Shield trended worldwide, with clips of the triple powerbomb racking up millions of views. But amidst the excitement, there's a sense of loss. A family that once stood united is now at war, and the wounds may never heal. What's next for Roman Reigns and his new Shield? The road to SummerSlam 2025 is paved with possibilities. A match against Seth Rollins and his faction seems inevitable, with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed as formidable foes. Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline 2.0 will undoubtedly seek revenge, potentially bringing in new allies like Hikuleo or Zilla Fatu. CM Punk, who has history with both Roman and Moxley, could also enter the fray, adding another layer to this complex narrative. The legacy of the Bloodline, once unassailable, now hangs in the balance. Roman Reigns' decision to reform the Shield is a bold move, but it's one that comes with a heavy price. The WWE Universe will watch closely as this saga unfolds, waiting to see if Roman can reclaim his dominance or if his betrayal will be his undoing. The Anoa'i family's story has always been about blood, but now it's about broken trust, shattered bonds, and a fight for supremacy. In the end, Money in the Bank 2025 wasn't just a wrestling event, it was a turning point. Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Jon Moxley have reignited the Shield, but at what cost? The WWE Universe is left with more questions than answers, grappling with the emotional weight of a family torn apart. Betrayal cuts deeper when it's blood, and the scars of this moment will linger long after the lights go out. Acknowledge him, the tribal chief once demanded, but now, as the hounds of justice rise again, the only thing certain is that the war has just begun.